Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derek Master.
This is Cream Bloody Movies, a podcast where we review a horror movie each week. We go over the horror news. And this week, we dig into the psyche of a woman that is being accosted by we could say rude spirit. How rude, as we do Sidney J. Fury's 1982 film, The Entity. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
I mean,
Good, good.
I had to wrestle with my 4-year-old, but other than that,
For the title,
yeah, she won.
they always do. They
I
always
lost my
do.
cool and I had to give her spankings.
Do what you got to do.
Right.
Okay, guys, we got a lot to talk about with the Entity tonight. But first, I've got just a pinch of horror news. And guys, I think we maybe hit on this not too long ago, but they're remaking Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we talked about this?
Yep, we did.
Well, we now know that so the same director is writing the script for the remake, Robert Hiltzik, and he's officially completed it. And it says he posted something. It's being produced by Kenan Thompson's production company, AFA. And he said, "Attention, campers, our script has arrived. Please meet us at the waterfront after the social for a table read." So we're getting some casting news and a table read, and I'm going to assume that, Felissa Rose is going to be in there somewhere as something. But yeah, it's a Sleepaway Camp 2025 is what the working title is. So, are you guys interested to see a remake of Sleepaway Camp? And how do you feel about the same writer taking another pass at the same at the same?
Um, I don't know how I feel about that part. Wasn't on my hey, need to see that again. But,
Right.
if you're a nostalgic horror fan, it might be a really good thing. It might be really good. Who knows? I don't know. You know what? I want to see the trailer. Wait till that comes out and I'll have a thought.
What do you think, Lydia?
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting one. Definitely curious of how they are going to remake it. It could go, it could be a little bit more politically correct in some ways maybe, or it could be just downright dirty like the first one. So
Yeah.
we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. Like, the thing that's interesting about it is, like, Sleepaway Camp is not like a major classic horror film. It's a minor cult classic. We've reviewed it, right? We did the first
Yeah.
one,
Yeah, I think so.
which is the only good Sleepaway Camp. I mean, I think 2 and 3 are fun, but God, Return to Sleepaway Camp is we'll get to that eventually in season 12. Derek's gonna pick it way sooner now, look at him. But, yeah, I'm interested. I think it's fun that Robert Hiltzik is still, like, the driving force behind, because he did the first one. He did Return to Sleepaway Camp, and now he's doing this. So it's like his kind of baby. Guys, I don't remember if we talked about it, but it was announced that Brendan Fraser, and Rachel Weisz are returning for a 4th Mummy film. And Brendan Fraser says that it's the one he's been wanting to make for 20 years. With Radio Silence directing the film. Guys, how excited are you for a new Mummy?
I'm
Uh,
mildly excited. Mildly excited. I know a lot of people are extremely excited. I am mildly excited about it. I'm excited for everyone who has been a fan for so long. I think it's really great. And my dad, who is in love with Brendan Fraser for some reason.
Yeah, because Brendan Fraser rocks his wife, first of all.
He's
But anyway.
awesome. He's awesome. He's grown on me since I was a kid. I don't know why. We always had this back and forth thing with him where I was like, I don't want to watch a Brendan Fraser movie. And my dad's like, he's awesome. So it's kind of a joke in our family. But
What do you think, Derek?
yeah. I feel like it is a just thing to have happen in the world. He kind of had a nosedive with his career, and that seems to be more studio related. And this is kind of his like second wind, and I'm all for it, man.
Yeah,
Bring it
so
on.
I'm really excited to see another Mummy movie. I
Hmm.
adore the first Mummy. I think it is. We have to do it for the show because it's fantastic. Um, we have to do the Mummy at some point. I love the first Mummy. It's great. This Mummy Returns, a lot of fun, pretty good. The Mummy 3, it's okay. Sarah, by the way, this fun fact: my wife Sarah absolutely hates the Mummy 3. Hates it. The
I
Mummy
can't
is one of her favorite
remember.
movies.
I
The
can't
first Mummy
remember
is one of
two
her
or
all-time
three.
favorites.
Yeah.
2 is where where they have a young son,
Oh yeah. See, I don't remember that very well.
and it's pretty fun. The third one was when their son is an adult and Jet Li is the villain, and it's like about Chinese mummies, and they
Oh.
fight like a yeti at some point.
Okay. Yeah. No, I never saw
and
that one.
and Rachel Weisz did not come back to play Evie. It was Maria Bella. And Sarah said she remembers sitting in the theater. She went to the movies to see it with her sister because she's so excited,
Yeah.
or because she loved the other mummies. She knew that she was recast and everything, but that scene happened where we first are introduced to the new Evie and everything. And Sarah's like, "This is fucking terrible." She looked at her sister. She's like, "We almost walked out." Is what she said. We almost walked out 5 minutes in because it was so cheesy. I was like, "It's a
That's
fucking
great.
mummy. What are you talking about?"
I
But
I have to admit that I saw The Mummy around probably the same age that I saw Scream, and The Mummy scared me just as bad as Scream did. I was so terrified of the scarab beetles getting under my skin that I had a really hard time watching that movie for a long time, but
the scary beetles are scary. Yeah, there's some pretty good horror in that. That's why we should do it.
yeah,
Also,
definitely.
just an absolute blast of an action adventure film.
Yeah,
That
I'm all
when
for
that
it.
movie came out, when that movie came out, I remember I didn't see it in the theaters, but we rented it, and I remember just like it blowing me away. Be like, "Oh my god!" We'll talk more about my experience with that when we do it eventually. Okay, and then finally, guys, we have a trailer for the new Silent Hill film. So I don't remember if you guys remember us talking about this, but it's called Return to Silent Hill, and it's based off of Silent Hill 2. So we've got our first official trailer for it. Looks pretty good. What are you guys' thoughts on Silent Hill? We did the first one, I do believe. I think we reviewed it.
No, I don't think we have.
You sure? I think we did.
I cannot remember the last time I've seen that movie. I don't think we've
I'm
done
wanting to
it.
say we did.
We should
Either
though.
way, are you guys interested in a new Silent Hill movie?
I'm gonna go with yes.
I cannot speak on the
Silent
matter.
Night, Deadly Night. We have not done it.
Mm,
I'm gonna say I am only because I think the premise behind those movies and I mean the video game in general I thought was pretty cool. So yeah,
yeah,
bring it on.
yeah. The first one is. I mean, we'll do it if we haven't done it yet. We'll do it eventually. But yeah, I actually went and saw both of those movies in the theaters. The first one and the second one. The second one is weird. They're both kind of weird. I haven't seen them in a while. There's stuff on both of them that I liked, stuff that I didn't like on both of them. I think overall they're both kind of messy, but
Hmm.
there's some great visual like imagery and ideas from the game. So I'd be interested in seeing it, just like I'm interested in seeing the new Zach Kreger Resident Evil movie. Those are kind of countless, timeless stories. Those are good IPs that you could, especially since in the instance of Resident Evil, we've not had a even semi-faithful Resident Evil adaptation because the Paul W.S. Anderson ones are fucking just wild. They have nothing to do with the games except characters float in and out eventually. But yeah, dude, they also made another Resident Evil movie, didn't they? During like around COVID time, like Welcome to Raccoon City or something like that.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah,
Yep.
I have not watched it, but I remember them making one. So
Was it a TV show or was it animated or?
No, it was a movie. It was just released straight to streaming because it was during the pandemic. So it like kind of came out in streaming, and I think it was on Netflix even.
Dang it! Now you made me
What I make you do?
want to IMDb this.
So yeah, it came out in 2021, and it was released, I think, straight to streaming. Yeah. So actually, it wasn't straight to streaming. It did play in theaters, but then it went to streaming. Because it made $42 million worldwide in 2021. That was okay because it was rough going for the theater chains. If you guys don't remember.
Well,
Well, you
we
couldn't really
do.
go into a theater, so
Yeah, by 2021 you could risk it. We still hadn't. I don't think we had a vaccine yet. Still,
yeah, and people were
Or-
not comfortable
mm-hmm.
because you had people, if somebody's like, "I'm not wearing a mask" or something, like you don't want to take the chance of like somebody starting a fight. Like tension was so high at that point.
I went to the movies once during the pandemic. Well, twice technically, because we went and watched Halloween Kills at the end of 2021.
That's right. Yeah.
The other one I went and saw was Tenet. I went and saw Tenet in 2021. Wore my mask the whole time. It was like a fucking long movie too, and I'm just
What a
like,
time. What a time.
what a time! I just wanted to see it. I wanted to support it. All right, that wraps up the horror news. So, guys, picture it. It's 1982. You have literally two of the, well, three great movies come out in 1982 that are like just kind of genre defining to a degree. So you have, Poltergeist comes out in 1982, right? Ghost Story.
Yes.
There's some similarities to this as well, which we'll get into. You have E.T. came out the same year, a genre defining in its genre, and you had The Thing came out this year. So 1982 was like a pretty popular year. Then sitting there in 1982 on the opposite end of E.T. is The Entity. Both suburban dramas, both involving, and so is Poltergeist. They're all suburban dramas involving a family being torn apart by or changed by something outside, right? An outside entity. Except in this one, it is a sexually assaulting ghost. So,
Not the family friendly theater experience you want to go
this
to.
one's not Casper. So, guys, have either of you seen this before?
I have never seen this one. Derek, you're muted.
See, that's what happens when you have a cold. I thought I might have. I saw the preview for it, and I did a random search for like cult classic horror movies, and this was one of them that kind of came up. And I watched the trailer, and I was like, I don't know if I've seen that or not. After watching this, I can confirm I've never seen this movie until I watched it.
Yeah, so it's surprising that I've seen this a couple different times. This is not my first watch. This isn't even my second watch. It's like my third or fourth watch. The first time I saw this movie was when I was way too young to have seen this movie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't from my parents or anything. It wasn't like the Freddy situation, because you know how they were. In the Freddy movies, I was allowed to watch Freddy kill whoever, but then when boobs came on, I had to cover my eyes because heaven forbid us see breasts, but definitely show Freddy turning that guy into a fucking motorcycle. Have at it with that. That's fine.
We don't want to mess him up too bad,
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Watch Freddy turn that dude into a marionette puppet and drop him off a fucking roof. But when the chick's tits comes out, you better cover those eyes.
That's the bad part.
I remember watching that, and then when Joey's part happens where the nurse takes off her shirt, that was a very important scene for my young brain, by the way. I remember being like, That's when I knew my sexuality pretty early. But this movie, I did not see. I saw as a teenager, as like a young teenager. I went over to my aunt's house to. I stayed the night with my cousin, and then I was going over and watching my other cousin who was mentally handicapped. So he was special needs. So I would babysit him for them on like the summer when I had it free. They'd say, "Hey, would you babysit him?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I'd come over and babysit him. We would play freaking Nintendo 64 so much, Mario Kart and Cruising USA. But my uncle, my aunt's husband, was just telling me about all these horror movies. He's like, "Oh, you know what? A good one is The Entity." I was like, "Not seen The Entity." He's like, "Oh, well, I have it. Do you want to borrow it?" I was like, "Sure." Here I am, like 14. I borrow The Entity.
What
And I
the?
watch it, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" It's like, you could have warned me, man. I mean, I'm having a lot of different thoughts going on while I'm watching this one. A lot of different emotions, like, "Oh my god, oh, are those boobs? Oh no,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Like, am I supposed to be watching this?
Is this okay to watch? What the fuck is going
Yeah.
on?"
Right. Yeah.
That was a fun time. He had a bunch of, and it was like, what made it more interesting is it was on like a recorded VHS, so it was a copy of a copy, so it was shittily grainy. You know what I mean? All of that stuff.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
just was like a a a, a vibe where you're like,
That probably makes it scarier.
yeah, it's like, is this like fucking 8 millimeter? What's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yep.
There was a bunch. Actually, another thing I remember he had that's funny. He had like this Amityville documentary where they were like interviewing people about the Amityville and stuff, and it was like America's Hauntings, it was some kind of like History Channel show or something on Amityville. I remember watching that at their house and just being like, "Cool, this is cool." But
Spooky.
this movie, yeah. So
This
I watched
movie.
it then, and then I watched it as an adult twice. This will be my fourth watch, technically my third time. I've watched it periodically. I watched this actually around the same during the pandemic. I think is when it was. I just was like, I haven't seen that movie in a while. I want a good scary ghost story, and I watched it, and I was like, different than I remember.
Yeah.
So the thing with this is, you guys, this
I
movie,
did have a warning about this movie. I
you
do
did.
remember my mom telling me, like, "Oh, The Entity is a really scary one. Have you seen that?" And I was like, "No, what's that about?" And she kinda, like, told me, like, the beginning scene, and I was like, "Think I'm gonna stay away from that one,
Don't
actually."
really want to watch that one. Don't really want to watch that one.
So I did have a warning about what this movie might be about, so
Yeah. So what's interesting about this movie is that this was directed by Sidney J. Furie, who's a filmmaker who he was a director for a long, long time. I mean, Sidney J. Furie was from 1959 to technically present, and he's a filmmaker that has done like different quality of films, like he's done like this movie and um
Superman.
unfortunately, yeah, I was gonna get to that. On the other end of the
Oh,
spectrum is the absolutely terrible Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, which is not Sidney J. Furie's fault. It was the script. It was the, fact that the theatrical cut ripped out a bunch of stuff, and right before they started shooting Superman 4, they also slashed the budget in half. Like, they wrote a script, which the script sucked anyway, but they wrote a script that was for this movie to be made on like $30 million, $35 million, and they cut the budget to like $15 million before filming, literally in half. And it's like, so that's why all the flying scenes in Superman look fucking terrible in Superman 4, because there's literally them on a screen just doing this. Terrible. That's for a different day. That's for a different podcast. But so what's interesting about this movie is like setup wise, and throughout most of the movie, it's a domestic drama with a ghost attacks, and it's also a pretty good looking movie, I think.
yeah,
mhm.
I agree.
Like, I was impressed watching it this time, especially. I was like, this is a well shot movie. Like, it's lit well and all those things as well. But it also like the shot compositions are very nice. They use a lot of split diopter shots. You notice that?
Mhm. Yeah.
There's, like, just tons of them. You know what a split
Yeah.
diopter is, Lydia?
Yeah.
Where the foreground and background is in focus, for people that don't know. They split the diopter. But there's tons of those, like, a lot, a lot, a lot, and they're not easy shots. So, I was like, "Man, this is" as I'm watching, I was like, "This is good," and I wanna also touch on, before we get into other stuff, let's talk about the acting, because the acting, I think, is
Yeah.
pretty excellent overall.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think it's all
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, Barbara Hershey's great in this role as what's her character's name? Susan Moran? Carla Moran, yeah, so she's great in this. Ron Silver's great in this too as the doctor. He's usually, he's a guy that can play anything. He can be,
Mm-hmm.
time cop, he's the villain, and he's a Weasley piece of crap, but he can also play like a good, like, hero, like in this one where he's like a concerned doctor who, also doesn't wanna believe her and can't believe her. It creates an interesting dynamic because this is a movie where there's like this second and third act of this movie are a little messy and weird, and we'll get into them. But the first act of this movie is pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah. I mean, I would.
that first attack comes out of nowhere.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. It certainly does. You're just not ready for it.
No, just
They get right
bam.
to the chase.
Look, it hits
Yeah.
you right in the face like she gets hit right in the face. It's just wham.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about that real fast, let's talk about the effects used for these attacks because they're done by Stan Winston.
And I did not know that. And I
You
was
didn't
so
until
shocked at
until
the
it popped up
end.
at the end? Yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
yeah.
this is making sense now. So it's really
Yeah,
good. The effects are great.
yeah, they're pretty cool because they do a lot of interesting stuff, right? Like, they have, like, the fake breasts, you know, that, like, m have, like,
Look like
hand
someone's grabbing him. Yeah.
yeah, grabbing them and they
Yeah.
indent and stuff.
Would be
It's
an
pretty cool.
interesting challenge to figure that one out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, can you imagine you call somebody, "Hey, I need a way to make it look like a chick's breasts are being felt when there's nobody there."
Like the
Yeah.
invisible man is filling your boobs.
Like,
Yeah.
what kind of fucking movie are you making over here, Sydney?
Yeah. I think actually now that you say that, I think I specifically remember my mom like trying to describe that scene to me. And I was just like, I don't even know what to say. Like, how do you even do that?
Yeah, it's
Like,
very interesting.
yeah.
So what I think is interesting about the movie, and your perspective is going to be different than our perspective, Lydia, because you're obviously watching it as a young person. No, that's not why. You're watching it as a woman, so your perspective will be different than we can only go off of what we know. What you feel, but there's definitely a streak of male characters not believing her in
Yes.
this movie, which I find
Mm.
frustrating, but also from an academic standpoint, understandable, right?
For sure.
Right.
I mean,
There's a
and
few things that
oh,
make
go
it
ahead.
a little extra frustrating. But yeah, go ahead, Derek.
Well, like at one point, I think he feels like she was indeed assaulted. Then he's trying to figure out, okay, well, obviously it's not a ghost, so who could it have been? And he kind of insinuates that maybe it was her son at one point. And while he does believe something happened, he's not taking the bait on her story because he's,
Well,
taking a very clinical approach to this and
Yeah.
what he knows,
right.
and he knows science, and you can't.
That's an absolutely absurd thing to, believe, to have somebody come into you and say, "Hey, I was sexually assaulted and I was essayed by a ghost." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, what are you talking about? I was, accosted by a ghost. He slapped me around. He abused me. And it's like, okay, so who really did this to you? The first time, it's like, she doesn't have any marks or anything. So it's like, you probably were dreaming or in some kind of delusion. And then as it goes on, it just kind of obviously, yeah, that would be the way to go. But on the opposite side, you have when the parapsychologists come in, they come in with like a freaking, they're not good either, basically. You know, they say they really, you know, they want to help her, but they really want to get proof of this ghost, obviously. And they're not there to harm her necessarily, but that's secondary. You know, they put this nitrogen stuff, this nitrous oxide, which we'll talk about here when we get to the actual ending. But there's some interesting like dynamics going on here, because we find out, you know, that she was got married at 16, that she was the daughter of a preacher who touched her, and then her husband died in 16, who was also abusive. And then the guy that she has the two younger girls with was just a much older guy, old enough to be her father, that she slept with, and then he just roams away. Like, he's not one to stay around for a while. I was like, who are you, Derek's dad? No.
Jamie.
That was terrible.
Good
We'll cut that one.
lord.
Sorry about that one. Sorry about that. We'll cut that one out.
Jamie.
That just hit me as I was saying it.
Boy.
I was
No,
like, Derek knows what this is like.
I'm not offended by that.
No, I know you're not. But you know, like this guy that just roams around, apparently. I don't know. So she's definitely not in the most she doesn't have the healthiest relationship with sex, especially.
Right.
Which
She has every reason to be completely mentally messed up by all of this baggage
Mhm.
that she's carrying around, for sure.
and
Yeah.
you know, some movies would make us question if, you know, what we're experiencing is, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
which way this movie puts it pretty much on Front Street that she's being haunted. That's
Yeah.
not even part of the story. That's just what everybody else is trying to piece together. One of the great strengths of the first Exorcist is that in the beginning, when the stuff's happening, we're in a position where we actually don't know either. So she could just be, and we had to go through the battery of tests, and we had to go through all that stuff, because there's still just enough that maybe it's psychological. In this, they're like, oh no, by the way, it's a ghost. We're gonna blow up this fucking all these windows in your house. So you're gonna know pretty quick. Then there's gonna be a giant, your son's gonna get electrocuted, which, by the way, guys.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah.
Like that one
What?
was a little like nonsensical, but like
It
the
was awesome.
electrocution, him getting tossed was, you know, kind of par for the course. She had gotten tossed,
Yeah.
and you know, and that was the first time that somebody else had witnessed it.
Yes. Because every other
And
time it was
so
her alone. Yeah.
yeah, that gives a little more credibility. And man, I felt so relieved for her whenever she was at her friend's. By the way, she's got the fucking best friend in the whole world.
Yeah. She's great. Yeah.
And her best friend's husband is a piece of shit. And I'm glad his house got destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are fun scenes with those characters.
Yeah,
But
like
her
super
friend is
fun,
just
but
like, oh,
like
come over, honey. I got you.
they
And
give a little bit of levity to the situation. Yeah,
yeah.
they do. Yeah, that's really funny. Her husband, I said the same thing. I was like, what an asshole.
yeah, like it wouldn't matter if that was the case. Like, because he's like, oh man, she probably got evicted. You know, I'm gonna go set her straight, and she's just like,
Yeah, but
she's
it's
already
like,
been through the ringer. But even if
so
that
if you
were the
think
case,
she's
man,
you think she's if you think she got evicted and you're going to be an asshole to her when she has fucking 3 kids that you're still a piece of shit. You know, you're still a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's interesting. We have that whole bit with her, you know, she feels guilty when she falls asleep and when the ghost starts assaulting her, because she's like into it because she was asleep, and then she feels guilt about it, which leads more credence to the whole she has a warped, you know, view of sex itself, which he points out, Ron Silver's character points out later in the movie. But these early suspense scenes, this first act into the second act, I think are the strongest parts of the movie, because you know, every time she's alone, you're afraid for her, you know, and we get like cool little shots, like when her friend comes to stay and they're laying in bed together, like the entity won't attack her, but the light,
Yeah,
lights,
letting you know that it's still
lighting is
there.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just
then it's
waiting.
yeah, exactly. And so it's like, "Ooh, that's spooky. That's cool stuff." I like that. That's good stuff. And then once the parapsychologists are introduced, this movie becomes like a fucking completely different movie.
De-
Yeah, kind of
It
does.
like it in a worse movie in my opinion because it goes from this kind of grounded, interesting kind of thing to like a kind of poltergeisty thing where they're trying to catch the ghost, I suppose, which is actually their plan at the end, and it just feels too high concept for this story, right? A movie where these people are trying to catch ghosts is not a bad idea for a movie or communicate with ghosts or catch ghosts. That's fine. But for this movie, it's really strange, I feel like. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
I can
definitely
get on board with
see,
that.
like, I can definitely see what you mean. I was just watching it for what it was, but you're right, it totally takes a shift and you're like, "Whoa, I did not expect this movie to go this direction."
Yeah, it also becomes like almost lighter as well once that happens because it like is very like we're gonna do these things and then that whole scene because it kind of becomes a special effects showcase and it's really bizarre. Like
Yeah, yeah, because it was kinda
when
feeling a little bit like Rosemary's Baby a little bit, with the
yeah,
psychologists and the doctors and it's very and then it just kinda, like, shifts to, like, Poltergeist, like, you saw like
so the scenes where like we see first the scene with the lightning and they're like, well, look, you can see the silhouette of the man or whatever, and they're just like that's a that's kind of stupid. Like just this lightning in
yeah,
the middle of you're like, "What?" But then
that is so
later
ghost huntery, though.
yes, it's very ghost huntery. It's like fucking Zach Bagans fucking, "Come at me, bro."
Yeah, it's like, I see look, you can see the eyes and the nose right here in this little smudge.
If you listen closely to the static, you'll hear it say, "Kill me." What are you talking about?
Or welcome home,
Yeah,
whatever,
or "Here."
you
Okay?
know? Yeah, when the ghost talks and you're like, "Oh, no."
No. But the laser light show scene is fucking what is going it's like you fucking stepped into Pink Floyd.
The sound effects are, like, straight from Star Wars.
Yeah, what'd you guys think of that scene?
I
I
don't
mean,
even
they kind of already established earlier that like it gives off an electric discharge. It seemed as if, and she called it out, like it wasn't as powerful. And could that have been because she had support and she
Maybe.
wasn't alone? Like, that's what I was going through
or
my
did it
mind. Like,
use all of its energy somehow on the
Yeah, but what
could
about the
have
electrocuted?
light show part, Derek? What about that scene with the
I mean, it was 1982. It was
Yeah.
it
A
was
bit
not
redundant.
obviously the
I
best,
think the
but at
effects are
the same
fun.
time, it
I
was.
just don't understand what the hell is going on.
They're just it's just redundant at this
Yeah,
point.
because we
It's
kind
like,
of
we
already
need
seen that.
another
And
scene of them seeing the thing.
Yeah,
But I
yeah. Well,
guess I
yeah,
because
but
mean,
this time it's
they
the
needed the
lady.
woman doctor to see it. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
but
because she
saying
was
that
like, I don't believe it," and then they're like, "Choo, choo, choo." We were
yeah,
kind of in a psychic trance. What are you talking? Oh, okay,
the
right.
green the green, like, glowy blob.
Yeah, it's like we're fucking
Yeah.
watching Prince of Darkness out of nowhere. Um, so
They could have
that
done that
stuff,
scene differently, it would have been way scarier.
yeah,
Like,
that
having
scene,
the one go to the bathroom and his face melts off, that would have been a little scarier.
yeah, kind of like Poltergeist. Yeah, just rip his fucking face off. I remember being a kid and watching that for the first time, and he rips his face off, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
You're like, that's the scariest thing
I just ripped off his whole face.
in this
And then
pretty
it's
tame
fine.
movie.
Yeah,
That's a pretty tame movie, and then you have that scary thing. And this one, it's just like a green floating blob. I feel like those
yeah,
two should have like switched places.
switched. Oh boy, rips his face off. Yeah, that's fucking great stuff. But let's talk about her like boyfriend guy, who also, by the way, looks like he could be her father.
But yeah.
Yeah,
He almost was redeemable, almost, because he goes away on business trips and he's telling
He's on
her
the
like,
road.
"Oh, this is the last time I'm gonna take the I'm gonna take over the office here, and I'm not gonna leave you." So he comes back and he's tells her to go put on this robe, and he goes in there and uses somebody else's fucking toothbrush. Not
You're right. That's the most disturbing part of this entire scene.
and then sprays, gets his breath ready to go and goes in there, and she's like sprawled on the bed getting accosted, and she's like, "Help
Dude,
me!"
Dude,
And
that
you're just
is,
like,
I think that is the most effective of the jump scare of like the scares
yeah,
because he just opens the door and boom, right there, and it's like, oh my god, and that's where the special effects are going crazy because we could see all the the hands on the breasts and her legs being pulled apart and stuff like that, and she's like, help me, and he just like doesn't know what's going on. He gets thrown and then breaks a chair over him. Then the son comes in thinking he's hitting her with a chair. It's all sorts of wild. Yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to specifically talk about that scene because what do you guys think? Like, as far as effectiveness of that scene?
Yeah, I think it's
Oh
really
yeah,
effective. I also think it's like by this point, you've seen her naked so many times that you're not really like in shock. She's just like, you know what I mean? Like you're just
Mm.
like at first you're like, oh dang, this is this kind of movie. This is pretty graphic and scary situations with this naked woman. And then by this point you're like, well, freaking jump in there and help her already. Yeah,
Yeah, but this was the most graphic of the scenes because
it
she's full
was.
definitely.
frontal.
Yeah,
She's full
Yeah,
definitely.
frontal.
Definitely.
Like
But I feel,
the other
I
the
guess I
one
just
we
mean,
see her top.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just mean like, like you're like, well, we already know her now.
we know this is what's happening. Yeah, go do something about it. Yeah, and then that dude decides to be a piece of shit after he's like, if she had a disease, I could stay with her, but I can't stay with her knowing that this ghost has been banging her.
Basically, like well, it's like, what would you do? Like, I mean,
I can't
you're gonna
compete with that.
stick with someone that is being haunted like that? Like,
I mean,
that's a
no,
tough
it's
one.
a scary ask, but the way he kind of does it is like not the best.
No, yeah, he's awful. He's kind of awful the whole time, really. Like you want to
Kind
like
of,
him, but he's
yeah, but
also just a jerk.
it kind of on the road the whole time. Telling him, "Hey, next time I'll be home," and then just doesn't come back. Derek, this guy kind of reminds me of your dad too.
he's more my
Jamie,
dad, but
Derek's gonna need some therapy after this episode, I think. Jamie just
um,
berating you. No, but the like one of the lines that he said was like, I'm gonna be here. No more nights on the road, no more one night stands. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, wait, what was that last part?
Wait, what are you talking about?
when
One
he
night
said that,
stands.
I assumed that he meant with her. That was an assumption I made.
Okay, yeah, that totally could have been because I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, pal.
I was like, what do you mean by that specific wording?
But
He's
yeah,
like, I'm
What's
having
your
a hard time.
what's your definition here? Yeah, but that's probably what he meant. But I was just like, hang on.
I mean, look, I get it. That'd be a shock to see for sure. But she's in the hospital. She's had a rough time. You'd at least want to make sure she's okay. I mean, he does
yeah,
stay
be
until the
there
doc
and
says she's
support her.
okay, but he's just like, "Can't do it, doc.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Can't do it, doc." So, yeah, that guy sucks. Then we get this whole third act with where the ghost parapsychologists come in and they're like, "We've got a plan to stop him. We're
It
gonna
was the
freeze
weirdest
him."
fucking plan. I kind of can understand it from a layman's perspective. Like, if it has mass, which they explain, if it has any
Oh.
type of mass, then this should trap it. But you're just like, man, this is the fucking stupidest idea I've ever heard in my goddamn life.
Yeah.
Does ice conduct lightning?
Well,
Huh?
it's water. It is water.
Because you would think you would easily be able to just get out of it because it's water.
Yeah. Also, I mean, okay, so the theory is, like you said, it has if mass, whatever. But this is an entity that can move through walls and through matter. I don't think that's quite
Dimensions.
how that works. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I agree. Like they're
It's a
banking,
terrible
like if it
plan.
had some sort of like ectoplasm, or if it had a presence in the world that is
tethered to this
entangled
world.
in
Yeah.
some sort of like, molecule or whatever.
Mm.
Because the whole thing with that is they're gonna bind it so that it can't move,
Yeah.
essentially.
So they stick
It's
keep
just
it
but
where it
it's
is.
it's the
Yeah.
wildest fucking thing I've ever seen in a movie. We're gonna have these giant guns that follow you around with
Then
liquid nitrogen, and
nitrogen.
we're gonna
Yeah.
Also, we're gonna just rebuild a replica of your house in a high school gymnasium.
yeah,
And it
we're
wasn't even like, I mean, you'd think it would need to be like perfectly accurate, and it's just not.
I mean, it was
Well,
accurate enough it came.
yeah.
It
But
doesn't have, yeah.
it's
They're like,
really
we chose
weird.
a different wall color.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
what's interesting is the rules regarding the ghost are kind of inconsistent as well. Like, is it
Yeah.
haunting the house? But we know it's not. We know
It's
it haunts
haunting
her
her. Yeah.
because of the car. But when she stayed the night at the friend's house, nothing happened.
So, like, you really wouldn't
Is it
need
around
to.
people? Yeah.
No, at her friend's house, it came and like blew out their windows and
Yes, when she was by herself the second
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But
You
when
really wouldn't need to build a fake house at all.
yeah.
yeah,
So
I agree with that.
I guess the fake house. I don't know what the fucking purpose of the fake house was because they were writing a script like, you want to be cool if we just built a fake house and had a fucking nitrogen gun that followed them around?
That's exactly
I
what it is.
guess that had to be it. So this whole third act, and then
Kind of
Ron Silver's
uncanny,
character.
kind of unsettling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Ron Silver's character, this whole third act is trying to like save her, right? Basically, he thinks that she's in danger. And he's right, just not for the reasons he thinks. Well, kind of for the reasons he thinks. Because he thinks they're in danger because of these fucking scary chemicals and nitrogen.
Yeah.
And he's right. He's correct.
Yeah.
The ghost causes it to explode, but that's exactly what,
Yeah.
That bro 100% has fallen in love with her.
Yeah, I think
But I mean,
so.
also from just like a human perspective, you're trying to save her, but he definitely has feelings for her, and then he gets shot down. But I mean, he gets shot down because she came to him looking for help, and he pretty much was like, "Look, I don't believe you,
Well,
and I'm not gonna believe you." And
they made a deal at the beginning. She was like, if it is that, then I will trust you that it's in my mind. But if it's not in my mind, we need to make a deal that you will help me get rid of it. And
Yeah.
he is
Yeah.
just like
but
refuses
he's not
to
equipped to
believe.
do that. He's just not equipped to do
well,
that.
he
knows
doesn't
nothing
even
about
believe
that.
it until the very end.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. But because he's not seen anything, everything
Yeah.
to him can be explained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything up until the end.
And to a
When-
fault.
Yeah. And then
know,
at the
And
end,
he's
when
very unprofessional, in my opinion.
but when all of the shit goes down, like everybody stands there like fucking morons except for him, who goes down and saves her, helps her out of the place, and they run from the nitrogen, and then it ends up in this like fucking
Nitrogen.
giant, this stupid ice thing, guys. The ice thing at the end is so dumb.
Are you talking
Like-
about the ice ghost?
Yes.
Ice Ghost.
We trapped him. Oh, he's breaking out.
Yeah.
Mike. And then they're like,
I really liked the sound effects though.
sound effects were good, but when he goes, when it's like, well, we did, it's all for naught. No, we did get something. We got an eyewitness. I'm not sure what I seen. You son of a bitch. I laughed out loud.
They had cameras. They had many cameras. They told her the only place that they really couldn't see was in the bathroom.
Yeah,
The
but the
bathroom was
cameras all
open.
were destroyed in the nitrogen explosion.
And it
yeah, I
didn't,
guess
I
you're
mean, you
right.
didn't see a ghost either.
Yeah. So they had nothing to go on except for their eyewitness accounts. And
he's
then
a
the ending, of the movie, the actual ending, where she goes into the house, and it's pretty spooky note to end on, where you hear the ghost speak.
Does he call her the C word?
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely does.
Mm,
Definitely
He
calls her
says-
the C word.
Welcome
don't like the
home,
C
C
word.
word. And I was like,
Yep. Welcome home, C word. And then she just leaves, and then we get that text that's like, the attacks, though less frequent and not near as violent anymore, still occur occasionally. because this is supposedly based off of a true story, right?
Right. 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 Right.
Oh, back in the day, they were real loose about that. I mean, they
Yeah,
still
yeah,
kind of
Still
are.
are.
none of this stuff was in the I mean, yeah, the
No.
entire Conjuring movies, by the way.
Yeah.
A series that we love. All fucking absolute horseshit. All hogwash. But this story is absolute hogwash as well, obviously. The true story. The woman that was actually claiming to be accosted's name was Doris Bither in 1974, and then Frank de Felcia wrote the book, The Entity, and the screenplay for the movie years later. But he she contacted a parapsychologist claiming that she was sexually assaulted and beat by this entity. But here's the thing: the interview revealed. So when they were interviewing her, she had a history of physical and substance abuse, along with a traumatic childhood, and all four of her children were living illegally in a condemned home. With like severe, like the home was condemned, and who knows what was in that home. It was in severe disrepair, is what the Wikipedia page says.
Wow.
But she alleged that she was attacked by one or several invisible entities. And then she also said that she would see luminous, transparent spirit shapes in poltergeist events.
Dang.
At the time, they said, one of the investigators said, this is absolute proof of the paranormal. Like, we got photographs that show what appear to be lights, moving balls of light. So this is definitely ghosts. And of course now, it's like, what are we
Dust
talking
orbs.
about?
Slayer.
Yeah, these are involves a distressed family, poor investigative techniques, and confirmation bias, obviously.
Mm,
Because
dang.
that obviously you go to a parapsychologist. What's a parapsychologist going to want you to see? He's going to want to see
Parachutes?
ghosts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what they do.
Yeah. So it's like,
It was a
it's
joke. It was a
like the
bad
same.
joke.
She went to a psychologist and he wanted to see just her mind.
Yeah.
So in the movie, but so I actually did a little research into parapsychology, by the way, before we
Yeah.
recorded this episode. Did you know you can take a course and get a doctorate, 12 courses, and get a PhD in parapsychology for like $1,000, and you could be a
That's not right.
doctorate in
All right. Well,
parapsychology.
I know what I'm doing next year.
And they say that they're not respected enough.
You know.
So, guys, that's the entity. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into our ratings?
One thing I did want to mention that we haven't mentioned yet, every time she got attacked, I'm like, man, it feels like I'm in Maximum Overdrive because that
Music. Dude, I was going to say the music. Yeah.
Yes. I thought the same thing as literally Maximum Overdrive music.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
All right,
That's so
I'm
funny.
glad we're all on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not hear that when you hear that noise?
And you know what's really funny? You know who the composer of this movie was? It's Charles Bernstein. And Charles Bernstein was the composer for A Nightmare on Elm Street,
Okay. Yeah.
which he did 2 years after this. And ended up writing like a fucking great score for that,
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
do 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 do. It's one of the best.
Do we know who did the Maximum Overdrive?
Yeah, it was AC/DC.
Oh.
Remember, AC/DC scored Maximum Overdrive.
But
And by score it, that means that they sent Stephen King a bunch of stems
yeah.
for music,
Okay. Yeah, you're
and
right.
then he edited it. So all those were AC/DC stings.
That was a silly question on my part. Very silly
Yeah,
question.
of course. Remember, it's right there when in the titles it says music by AC/DC with the
Yeah.
fucking lightning bolt even, and you're like,
Just all of it, even that
the
part.
score. The score is the best part of that Maximum Overdrive.
It is, yeah.
I mean,
It's
Maximum
all-
Overdrive itself
it's
is
all
pretty
fun.
fun, but
It's
it's
all
good.
fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
All right, but what about this one? What else did we miss, Derek? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I kind of fell in love with the lead actress. She was
Barbara
absolutely
Hershey.
gorgeous.
That's Barbara Hershey.
Yeah.
We've covered her in 2 different films, I do believe.
What else has she been on that we would have?
Well, she is, if I remember correctly, well, she's at least in one of them, but I think 2.
She's in Insidious.
She's in both 2 Insidiouses. Actually, her voice is in the 3rd one, but she's in both Insidiouses. Yeah.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
She's older now.
Josh's mom in
Yeah,
Insidious.
yeah, yeah.
I knew immediately
So,
when I saw her. I was like, "Oh, hey, that's her."
yeah, I just didn't remember. I haven't seen Insidious 2 in a while. I didn't remember she was in the 2nd one too. She is. So, yeah. Yeah, she's great. She's great.
Yeah.
Really good and stuff. She's also in The Red Door and, she archival footage in that one. But,
Yeah.
so, Derek, what do we think of this one?
So this movie was different than I expected, for sure. Um, I looked it up because they came out in the same year. This one went R with an R rating, obviously, and then you
Mhm.
had Poltergeist go with PG. So, a completely different market. Um, and
Oh, they're
this
not even
movie,
close,
yeah,
or
and
box office-wise. No.
no, 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 they're not. So I think this one had a budget of 9 million,
Mhm.
grossed worldwide a little over 13. But yeah, I mean, different market, obviously a much different movie. This one's way more violent. It's got the nudity in it. I really agree with you. Like that first half seems like a kind of a different movie than the second half.
A better movie than the 2nd half.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will say this movie had me paying attention the entire time, so
Okay,
it
that's good.
kept my attention. It was fairly entertaining. I don't know that I will watch it again anytime soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this movie, I don't know, it's either a 5.5 or a 6. I'm gonna go 6. I'm gonna give it a 6. It was entertaining. It was something else. The acting was great. The cinematography was
Mhm.
really great.
Direction
The
was good too,
story,
yeah.
yeah, like and the characters to each other
Mhm.
felt very authentic, and there was a lot
Yes.
of like cohesiveness. And I fell in love with her best friend, man. Her friend was there for her no matter what. Ride or die. Everybody
Ride or
needs a
die,
hero.
baby. That's because 'cause they're not friends. They're family.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I'm gonna go
Just Vin
6.
Diesel was right here saying it. Lydia, what do you think of this one?
I actually really enjoyed this one. I wasn't sure, knowing kind of like the subject matter of this movie. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be like a very enjoyable movie, but it kind of was. It kind of like, I don't know. It's not the direction that I thought it was going to go. And yeah, the characters are all really good. It was well done. I actually really liked it. I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah, I like this movie too. I think it's good. Derek, to finish your thought that you were kind of talking on. So Poltergeist was made for $10 million. So just $1 million more than that
Mhm.
movie was than our movie's made for. It also box office brought in $121 million. $121 million in 1982 is fucking obscene. That's an obscene amount of money. I like this movie too. I think like I said, the direction is good. I think the cinematography is pretty outstanding, actually. I think this movie looks really nice. I think it looks so good that it makes the budget seem bigger and makes it feel more important. I like the serious approach that it takes in that first half. Then it gets kind of silly in that second half. I would have given this movie a solid 7 if it wasn't for the second half, kind of. And just the ending leaves me cold. Not so much of like, oh, she's still there. That's fine. Or at least, like the lingering thought that it could still be there is fine. It's that whole liquid nitrogen thing is just wild to me. I was like, what the fuck movie did this come from? So I'm going to give it a 6.5. So I'm like kind of in between both of you. I think it's pretty solid. Solid movie. Now, guys,
You said
we have to,
6.5.
yes. Now it's time to aconize this movie. who would Tom Atkins play?
Dr. Dan. No, that's not his name. The doctor. That's who I'm thinking.
Dr.
That's
Phil.
interesting that you called him that because he actually looks like someone I know named Dan.
Ron Silver. Who do you think, Lydia? Do you think the doctor? He'd be
Yeah,
really good in that role.
the doctor, or I don't know. I could
I
see
can
him
see him.
being the love interest, like her actual boyfriend or whatever,
Yeah, but he's in less
as an
scenes. I
older
think.
guy.
Yeah,
Jerry.
I think I'd like to see him as the doctor too.
Yeah.
I think that, or if we made him the ghost, then this
The
whole movie
doctor
would
just
just not be a
frustrates me.
thing. If we made him the ghost, then this whole movie would be a completely different movie. It would just be a movie about her banging a ghost. Because there'd be no forcing. It'd be Tom
Yeah.
Atkins.
Yeah. It'd be like
Mom, what are you
Scary
doing?
Movie.
Get out of here. I'm banging the ghost. Yeah, Scary Movie 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I remember that's another one I watched with my mom. We rented it. I knew better because I watched the first one in the theaters, but I rented that and it fucking that whole beginning happened and I'm just like, oh my God, we're in for it again. Like, I mean, we have James Woods as a priest who we see the flies all over his faces because he's taking a shit. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the whole freaking with the ghost, I was just like, oh my God. With Tori Spelling. I was like, oh my God.
Yep.
But I did laugh hysterically at all of Chris Elliott's small hand stuff.
Of course.
I use my strong hand.
That's like the most iconic thing from that movie.
It's so fucking wild, dude.
So gross.
That
I got no
it's
comment.
it's that and it's freaking David Cross blowing himself are the two most
Yeah.
iconic scenes in that movie.
Yeah.
I can do it myself. So dumb. All right, Lydia, it's your pick.
Oh yes, it
What
is
are we
my pick.
watching next week?
All right, we're gonna change the pace a little bit here, and
Okay.
we are going to watch Zach Kreger's Weapons.
Excellent. That is actually easy for me to tell you where it is. It's streaming on HBO Max. There it is. It's on HBO Max. You can also rent it on iTunes, Amazon, I'm sure probably Fubo TV, hopefully, if we're lucky. Everything should be on Fubo. All right, great. So Weapons next week. Awesome. So that's what we'll be watching next week.
Can't wait for you guys to see
I've
it.
not seen it. Yeah, I've not seen it yet. Not seen it. So it'll be a first watch for Derek and I, right, Derek?
Yep, I have not seen it either. Been on my list.
Yeah, it's been on
I'll get to
all of
knock
our
that one off
lists.
my list.
Yep. Yep. So that'll be great. Next week, we will watch Weapons on HBO Max. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. You can follow us online at HiLaProductions.com. Be sure to comment down below on your thoughts on the entity and on what movies you want us to do in the future. The holiday season's coming up. We need some ideas for Christmas. I mean, we kind of have some, but we need some more. So we need to start getting into the old Christmas season. So let us know what you want us to do for this year's Christmas special. Stay tuned for more updates on the movie, Secret Admirer. You can watch the opening scene at the very end of this podcast. We'll also link it at the beginning, too, so that way it's just there always. But be sure to check that out and give us a like and share so we can get our movie made. That'll do it for us tonight. So until next week when we are watching Weapons for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.